Hi, welcome to the behind the scenes of me recording the Ink and Obeah podcast. Uh, Behind the scenes because just doing a first read of it, and I decided to share it with you too. Welcome. 2 days had passed. The rain was over, but the earth was wet and it smelled like new. The water in the rice land was low. Pa sat on a crate. He was eating a shard of roti. He wasn't drunk, but his eyes looked like he wasn't drunk, but his eyes looked like dirt. Then he stopped chewing the roti. Eat fast, Sonori and Pandey. All you have to plant rice. Ma stood near the rice box. She didn't eat, but her belly was full of worries. Her eyes were almost hidden in her bony sockets. She said to Pa, "Now you let those children eat in peace." Baraj and Rama. Now, now you let these children eat in peace. Baraj and Ram are still at that hospital. So you let these children eat. Okay, she said to Pa, "Now you let these children eat in peace. Baraj and Rama still at that hospital. So you let these children eat." Pa sat on a crate. He went on eating, but he shook his feet all the time. Suddenly, he threw his food away. I don't know what that was. Suddenly, he threw his food away. I go take a Suddenly, he threw his food away. I go take a chiller and beat all your mother ass in this house. I go take a chiller and beat all your mother ass in this house. A chiller. I think that word is chula. Chula. A chiller. Chula. Chula. I go take a chiller and beat all your mother ass in this house. A chiller is one of those fire sticks. Chiller is a fire stick. Maybe a chiller is a fire stick, like a poker. Okay. He was waiting for Ma. I go take a chiller. I go take a chiller and beat all your mother ass in this. I go take a chiller and beat all your mother ass in this house. He was waiting for Ma to say something. She said nothing. Pa walked out the house. Sunri and Pandey sat on the earthen floor. They ate fast, chewing like hell, just to please Ma. Now why you take all your time, Master? Now why you take all your time, Master? It's not good to eat fast. Sunri and Pandey couldn't reply to this. Their mouths were full of food. They only shook their heads. Ma rested her hands on the tapia wall and looked at them. She didn't smile with them or anything. She just looked at them. They watched her too. Then Sunri gulped her food and said, "We as good children?" Then Sunri gulped down her food and said, "We as good children?" "Yeah," Ma said, as she turned to go to the kitchen. Pandey chewed slowly. Sunri told him to hurry up. "I'm not going to hurry up." Pandey chewed slowly. Sunri told him to hurry up. "I'm not going to hurry up. I'm not planting the rice today. I afraid them snakes in that water. 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 In that water. I afraid them snakes in that water." Ma came out of the kitchen. She had an old flour sack tied around her head. She said that she was going in front to pull the rice nurseries. Sunri and Pandey were to come later. No, ma, wait for me, Pandey said. Come with Sunri. I fear the spirit eat me in this house. Ma laughed. Ma laughed ugly. Ma laughed ugly. Ma laughed ugly. Ma laughed ugly. She had very few teeth in her mouth. They had fallen off. They had fallen off long ago. Ma, you ugly like a rat, 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 Pandey sang. Ma didn't mind. She picked up Pandey in her skinny arms. Pandey started to cry. He didn't want Ma to hold him. He complained that she fell. He complained that if she fell, he was going to fall too. So she put him down. Ma walked in front as if she was walking a race. Ma walked in front as if she was walking a race or something. Sunri and Pandey walked behind. There were red crabs on the rice land bank. They moved away as Ma walked up to them. But some of them were fat and lazy. Lazy just as fat people. As fat people. Their bellies were big and they looked like red cashews. Sunri and Pandey tried their best to meet Ma. They couldn't. Ma was fast. They couldn't. Ma was a fast walker. But she couldn't walk as fast. Ma, they couldn't. Ma was a fast walker. But she couldn't walk as fast as Jesus. Sunri and Pandey trailed behind. And in cracks, Pandey walked on a fat crab. In cracks, Pandey walked on a fat crab. Sunri looked over and said, God could give you sin today, Pandey. God could give you sin, Pandey. But me, I do that for spite. You're still going to get sin. Me, I do it for spite, I tell you. Me, I do it for spite. Me, I do it for spite. Me, I do it. All right, Sunri said. But that crab have plenty of young ones in she belly. Now you kill that crab and all them young ones too. Sunri and Pandey sat on the rice bank and looked at the female crab. The crab's feet were still moving, trembling like. Something white as a cow's milk flowed out of the crushed, upturned belly. Then the feet. Sunri and Pandey sat on the rice bank and looked down at the female crab. The crab's feet were still moving, trembling. Like something. What's happened is that I did a thing with this week. Let's see if me throwing a thing would agitate my mouse enough to wake. Maybe not. Maybe this. It's not enough to do that. Oh well, I'm here and I'm sleeping. Where am I at? Sunri and Pandey sat on the rice bank and looked at the female crab. The crab's feet were still moving, trembling like. Something white as cow's milk flowed out the crushed and upturned belly. Then the feet became dead. The crab dead now, Sunri. The crab dead now. The crab dead now, Sunri said sadly. God go deal with it. Yeah, God know that. Yeah, God know that. Pandey remained worried and quiet. Sunri held the crab with her tiny fingers. Part of the back was buried in the mud. The mud formed a dirty circle around the belly. She looked carefully. Some of the young crabs were moving inside the broken shell. She lifted the dead crab and placed it gently in the water. Ma was at the end of the rice bank. She looked back. Sunri and Pandey were still amongst the other end. They were still almost at the other end of the bank. All you come on, children. It's getting late, Ma said. They got up and ran to her. Ma sat on a potato crate and pulled out the rice plants from the muddy water. The nurseries were thin and long and softer than grass. Ma pulled them fast with her bony fingers. Hundreds of brown doves kept flying over the rice land. Their wings went tat 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 tat, as if dry leaves were rubbing against each other. Blackbirds rose like a steady flow of smoke. Blackbirds rose like a steady flow of smoke, passed over the rice land, and settled on the long mango trees. Sunri wore a long dress made from a flour sack. Pandey was dressed in a merino only. He wasn't wearing any pants. They sat on an upturned crate near Ma. Helped her pull the rice plants from out the ground. Then Pa came into the water and joined them. He knew the work well, but he couldn't pull the plants out of the ground faster than Ma. But Pa didn't pull for long. He took a brush and cutlass and started trimming the grass on the narrow merry. As he cutlassed some of the cut grass fell back into the water. Several mango trees lined the northern edge of the rice land. They were tall. Some of them had wild pines growing on their branches. Ripe mangoes fell inside the rice land that made the water blackish near the trees. The water smelt bad too because the mangoes were rotting on the inside. Because the mangoes were rotting inside of it. Come and take up the grass, Pa shouted. Sunri and Pandey got up. They walked fast. Pa was cutting the grass on the bank. Sunri and Pandey took the grass that fell in the water and made them into small balls and placed them on the merry. Then they were finished picking up the grass. When they were finished picking up the grass, they went and joined Ma. It was time to scatter the rice nurseries. Ma held the top of the rice plants and broke them off, because this made the plants grow better. Then she collected them into 2 handfuls and tied them into small faggots. Sunri and Pandey threw the faggots out all over the rice land. What are the Okay. Help me plant out some rice, Ma said. No, Pa declared. What the hell, man? Sure. Help me plant some rice, Ma said. No, Pa declared. Why? Kiss my ass, that's why. Ma remained quiet as a mango skin. She didn't even look at Pa. She took up a faggot of rice plants in her left hand, loosed the banana string that held it together, and started to plant the rice. Ma was always a good planter. The plants stood upright, about 8 inches above the water, because the roots were buried under the water. The plants didn't lean too much in any direction. She made a straight row along the bank, went a little way in, right, went a little way with it, then she turned around and made another row. The faggot planted the faggot planted about three the faggot planted about 3 rows. Then she took another one and planted. Chucks, chucks, chucks again. Sunri and Pandey planted too. Sunri and Pandey knew about rice planting, but Sunri did all but prayer. Sunri and Pandey planted too. Sunri and Pandey knew a lot about rice planting, but Sunri did most of the work. Pandey spent most of his time looking for red crabs in the water. Pandey didn't want to kill the crabs. He felt sorry for crabs. He was only trying to get them out of Sunri's way. He didn't want her to kill them by mistake. It was very hard to see the crabs in the water. It was too muddy. Pandey just ran his hands in the water. Whenever he found a crab, he caught it and threw it out of the way. He had to be careful because red crabs had sharp gundis. Sunri planted slow, but she planted. Sunri planted slow, but she planted good. It's such a nice phrase. This kind of joy to me. This kind of duplicity of this kind of, it's not really oxymoron, but this kind of dual character is quite often commonplace in Caribbean, not only literature but speak. My grandfather was a sergeant, who was a police inspector. He was called slow but sure. He was always slow to get to the crime scene, but he was always surely there. So, that term, she planted slow, but she planted good. Yeah. It just hits home. Once or twice she tried to move fast. Sunri planted slow, but she planted good. Once or twice she tried to move fast, but the plants didn't stand upright because the roots were not placed in the ground firmly. They were uprooted by the wind. Pa went under the Dudus mango tree. He sat down and ate mangoes all the time. He just ate like a pig. The yellow juice rolled down his face and fell onto his chest, and hundreds of flies licked his lips. Hundreds of flies licked his lips, but he didn't care. And Ma stood up and said, "Come and help me plant some rice." "Kiss me ass," Pa said. "But I have to go and see Barraj and Ram in that hospital." "Just shut that mouth, I say. Just shut that mouth, I say." So, shut that mouth. Ma was helpless and afraid. She wasn't a coward or anything. She was brave, but brave only as a woman is brave. But brave only as a woman is brave. Like the time last year when Barraj went to steal oranges in Sancho Estate. He carried Rama with him. The rain was falling and falling and falling, yet Barraj carried Rama with him. There was thunder and lightning, and the sky was dark. Barraj carried an empty rice bag on his shoulder, and Rama walked behind him. The orange tree was tall, but lianas were choking the tree to death. What are lianas? But lianas were choking the tree to death. Barraj climbed up, picked the oranges, and threw them to the ground for Rama. Rama collected the oranges and threw them inside the rice bag, but Rama started to bawl as if something was biting him. Barrage climbed down the tree because he thought that a snake was biting Rama. Rama was bawling and rolling on the ground, but nothing was wrong with him. Barrage grew afraid. He left Rama inside the estate. He left Rama inside the estate alone. He ran home through the rain and told Ma that the spirit was holding Rama under the orange tree. Ma ran into the estate and found Rama rolling under the orange tree. He told her that there was an evil spirit upon him. The spirit was biting and choking him all the time. Rama was fighting her, but Ma was strong. And when she brought him home, he was still bawling because the spirit had followed him into the house. Ma fought with him all night. In the morning, he was better because Ma had the strength to drive the spirit away. Come and help me plant the rice, Ma said. Why? Pa asked, still sitting. Because I want to go to that hospital to see Barrage and Rama. I's the mother. Now shut your mother ass and plant that rice. Pa stood up. He stood up as his pa stood up. He stood up as a tall juniper stump. His belly was full of the mangoes he ate. His belly was full of the mangoes he ate. So he had the strength to watch Ma. Ma was hungry, so she couldn't quarrel. Ma was hungry, so she couldn't quarrel too much. She just loosed another faggot. And went on planting rice. Sonari was planting good, but not good enough. Her rows were not in one straight line. She was trying her best to make a straight line, but she couldn't. When Pa shouted at Ma, Sonari looked for Pandey. He was still trying his best to rescue the reddish crabs. Pandey, come and help me plant the rice. I'm not helping you plant no rice. Pandey getting a call. Decline. I really can't take a call now. So I'm going to maybe do this thing just for a few minutes until I finish this. Pandey, Pa going to beat you sooner or what? Pandey knew. Pandey, Pa going to beat you sooner or what? Pandey knew that Pa was a snake. He left the crabs alone, took another faggot and went towards Sunari. Pandey was not a good planter. He didn't know how to ram the rice roots under the water and then cover them with mud. But he was trying to plant them faster than Sunari. He wasn't holding the plants carefully. Sometimes he squeezed so hard that they broke in the middle. Just about the water line. There was about 8 inches of water in the rice land. The rice plants were about 16 inches long. When the roots were buried in the mud, the plants were supposed to stand straight above the water. Pandey finished his faggot quickly and took another one. But he was afraid. Afraid because some of the rice plants he had planted were leaning in the water. Others were buried so deep into the mud that the tops were hidden under the muddy water. Some of the plants just floated above the water. Look what you're doing, Pandey, Sunari said. I'm not doing nothing. This rice could kiss me ass. I as a child. If Pa hear you, beat you, Pandey. But I as a little child. Pa stood. A lot of times in the Caribbean, we have this thing about children and danger, and that children maybe could escape danger or are impervious to danger. When you say that, it's like I remember my grandmother She's horrified of dogs. She always tells all these horror stories of dog bites and dogs, attacking people. So she was terrified of dogs. I remember specifically that when she's walking with one of her grandchildren, she would put us in between her and the dog. And her line was, "Dogs don't bite children," you know. So this excuse that Pandy came with, talking about, oh, it's a child or whatever. This excuse is more or less the same kind of philosophy, or stands on the same kind of philosophy. Okay, maybe how much we still have to finish this chapter? Maybe maybe two more tins, 3 more tins. Sorry. Mm. Pastor on the rice bank by the Dudus mango tree. He heard Pandy. He jumped as a bull on the rice land bank. Pandy, shut your kiss me ass mouth. Shut it, boy. Me? Me, Jesus Christ. I don't understand how this flows. All right, let's just give this another go. Pastor on the rice bank by the Dudus mango tree. He heard Pandy. He jumped as a bull on the rice land bank. Pandy, shut your kiss me ass mouth. Shut it, boy. Me, Jesus Christ. If you make me come in that water, I will kick you till your liver bust. And Ma, you left them children alone. Just left them alone. Before you before you send these children to school. Oh, there. Before you send these children to school, you're making them plant rice in Tula. But I tell you, God watching them from that sky. These children go come man and woman in Tula. Just left them alone. There was no more rice between Sunari and Pandy. Speed was getting Pandy in trouble. He stopped down and moved as an old man in the water, but still he couldn't make a straight line. Then Pa left. He walked slow because he didn't want to fall on the slippery bank. He went home. The time passed slow, but it passed. The evening walked out of the forest and hunched over Tula. Ma had the last faggot. Birds moved hurriedly from one corner of the sky to the other. Thousands and thousands of birds, doves, sebs, silverback, wild pigeons and hawks just floated across the sky. They passed over the rice land, hurrying to their homes inside the forest. The clouds were tired in the sky. They floated about lifelessly. Sunri and Pandy got home. Ma said, "Sunri and Pandy." No, that was read wrong. "Sunri and Pandy, go home," Ma said. Sunri and Pandy were tired and hungry. Their bellies were full of wind. They were getting sharp pains in their stomachs, but they tried waiting for Ma. Ma was in a great hurry to finish the last faggot, but she was too hungry to feel tired. When the last faggot was planted, Ma came out of the water. Pa was asleep on a rice bag near the rainwater barrel. He was snoring like an animal. His mouth was open. Flies went inside his mouth, but they came back out because his mouth was smelling bad. His hands were folded across his chest as if he was already dead and rotting. It's interesting how they're describing their father. This is the description of the father being such a bad person that he's even smelling bad. They say demons smell of sulfur and rotting, and it's clearly that they're likening him to a demon. Ma took an enamel dipper. She finished out some water from the rainwater barrel and poured it over Sunari and Pandy. They rubbed their skins trying to get the mud from their bodies. Pa woke up. All you making so much kiss me ass noise. That is my mother's line right there. That is my mother's line right there. All you making so much kiss me ass noise is exactly what my mom will tell me and my brother. Now, now it's evening, Ma said. You're not sleeping off? No. You come home long time now. You're not planting no rice. Now you're full that you come home long time now. You're not planting no rice. You know full well that these children hungry. Before you cook some food, you're studying to sleep. You shut your kiss me ass mouth and cook. I can't cook. I have to go to see Barrage and Ram in that hospital. You shut your ass and cook. Pa went on talking. He talked. Fap, 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 fap. As when a jandy pole, as when a jandy pole stakes in the wind. A jandy pole is a jandy pole is usually made out of bamboo. It's placed in the ground near Hindu temples, near Hindu homes, and it's blessed and it's placed on the ground. It's used to it's spiritual and symbolic at the same time. You know, um, yeah, Hindu homes usually have a jandy pole, and the flags on them, those flags would represent the devotion to a specific Hindu deity. You know, so Lakshmi, I know the yellow. I don't know the rest, but I definitely remember that Lakshmi is yellow and white. Yeah. Mm. Okay. Yeah. Okay. There were there were razor grass and broken bottles in his voice. Pa talked. He didn't talk a little and stop. He talked a little and stop. Just like he went on talking and talking and talking. Ma was quiet. She just stood, her head from side to side as a mad woman, and shakes her head. Come inside the kitchen, Ma said to Sunari and Pandey. Ma walked into the kitchen first. Sunari and Pandey walked behind her. They looked back all the time because they were afraid of Pa. Put some water in that pot. Put some water in that iron pot, Ma said to Pandey. Pandey took the pot and went by the rainwater barrel. Sunri was helping Ma knead the flour. Ma sat on the earthen floor and peeled sweet potatoes with a small knife. Most of the potatoes were reddish and rotten like. I want some water for the flour, Ma, Sunri said. Hey, Pandey, Ma called. There was no answer. Ma called again. There was no answer. She was about to call again and Pandey ran inside the kitchen. What happened, boy? Ma asked. Ma asked. Pandey running. Pa, running me with the leather belt, he said. Ma lifted her head. Pa stood in the way as a dead tree. He had the leather belt in his left hand. He was gripping it firmly. I go kill Pandey ass. Sunri had dry flour on her hands, up to her elbow. She was sitting on the wooden pira. Pira is a little bench. She was no longer kneading the dough to make the roti. Her fingers were stuck to the flour, and with her head tilting slowly backwards, she stared at Pa in fear and disgust. Now you left Pandey alone, Ma shouted. Why? Because he's my child. I bleed blood to make him. You don't want me to go and see Barrage and Ram in that hospital, but I'm going to walk to Tulaville. Is that how they say that? You don't want me to go and see Barrage and Ram in that hospital, but I'm going to walk to Tulaville. You can't stop me. Them children's longing to see their mother. I'm going to walk to Tulaville, I tell you. There was a slow groaning of a cow or a mule groaning. There was a there was a slow groaning as if a cow. There was a slow groaning. There was a slow groaning as if a cow or a mule were groaning. I see I have one person here. Are you here? If you're here, just either drop a like or say something. Um, just to know that you're here. Cheers, and that you're not one of these bots. Yeah, I'm Adi, by the way, and I'm reading the book No Pain Like This Body. Oh, my lighting's bad. Sorry for that. Okay. There was a slow groan. There was a slow groaning, as if a cow or a mule were groaning in sleep like. Ma sank to the ground, as level as a shadow. She held on to her head and groaned sharply. She wasn't bleeding or anything. Pa just struck her and her right ear. Pa just struck her in her right ear with his huge fist. Now, Pandey, come here, Pa screamed. Pandey leaned against the wall as if he was a wall too. Leaning against another wall with tears in his eyes, he begged Pa, saying, "When you get old, I go give you food. When you get old, I go give you food. Don't beat, don't beat me, Pa." That's a very hi, thanks. That's a very interesting bargaining chip. Where you from, by the way? Since you're here, where you from? Uh, yeah. Now Pandey leaned against the wall as if he was wall too. Leaned against another wall with tears in his eyes. He begged Pa, saying, "When you get old, I'll give you food. Please. Don't beat me, Pa." Pandey. Yeah, Pa? Sit down. Alright. Pa bent his knees and leaned against the wall. His lips shook. Saliva leaked out of his mouth and ran down his neck. He watched Pa. Sunari sat in front of him. Her back was almost touching him, but Pandey couldn't see her because he watched Pa. He got up slowly. She held on to her right ear. Like my ears bell burst, she screamed. "You should have dead," Pa yelled. "Oh God, my ears ringing inside. You should have dead," Pa declared again as he walked out of the kitchen. After a while, Ma loosened the flour sack from her head. The flour sack was spotted with dirt. She sat down, flung the sauce. Ugh, this flour sack should be a tongue twister. After a while, Ma loosened the flour sack from her head. The flour sack was spotted with dirt. She sat down, flung the flour tongue twister, flung the flour sack into the corner and started to peel the sweet potatoes again. She had long black hair. The hair hung down from her head as strands of strong black rope. She wept as she peeled the potatoes. Wept easy, because she was afraid to cry in the house. Sunri stood up. She went outside. The rice pot was sitting on an old potato crate by the rainwater barrel. She took it, dipped some water from the barrel, and went back into the kitchen. "Put the water to hot on the fireside," Ma said. "All right. Today you go in and see Baj and Rabba." Why am I reading so badly? Let me get that cadence a little better. Sunri stood up. She went outside. The rice pot was sitting on the old potato crate by the rainwater barrel. She took it, dipped some water from the barrel, and went back into the kitchen. Put the water hot on the fireside, Ma said. All right, today you're going to see Barraj and Rama. That's a question. Today you're going to see Barraj and Rama, Ma? Rama, Ma. Today. How did she say it? All right. Today you're going to see Barraj and Rama, Ma? Today you're going to see Barraj and Rama, Ma? Today you're going to see Barraj and Rama, Ma? Pandey asked. No. A little later, the food was ready. It was a habit in the house. Pa always ate first, but he was not at home. Ma had to dish out his food first, then put it away. Pa took out a good portion of food and Ma took out a good portion of food and carried it inside the bedroom for Pa. He didn't say a word. He just ate the food. Interesting chapter. Very interesting chapter. It'll be interesting making some music toward it. I am going to. How many pages is this? Yeah, this was maybe an hour read. Chapter an hour. It's also because I read kind of slow. It's also because I read kind of slow. If anybody's here and want to stick around with me a bit, I want to make a coffee and roll a spliff. Really. But this was a nice reading. I really enjoyed it. I'm happy for those who came around and spent some time with me. Yeah. Did I lose a like? Oh, did I lose a like? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Maybe whoever is liking and unliking, that's fine. I'm just here to share some work, share some reading because I have a podcast where I read this entire book, and I just decided to come on YouTube and do my practice read. To get some live hours in, and it's a good idea. I'll just snuggle down on a little gaming chair with a cup of coffee. That's gone too cold, and I need a little bit of inspiration now. Where are you from? Who the furthest here? Is the ones here. Oh. Da 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 da. Nice song. Oh, I can't just put this little candle on this. This is my rolling table. A little bit of ash on it, and another piece of tissue nearby to wipe it up. This is not a chair that we easily get up from. When we sit on it for a little while. Yeah. I don't know where you are, but where I am in Liverpool, it's freezing. But I hope that I got this done, and maybe about 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, I could come on and I'll read it on TikTok. Yeah, I get a good bit of engagement. Well, not a good bit, but TikTok is that kind of site where you can afford into sometimes. And I'll be reading it against my computer, I guess. So I'll be recording it at the same time, vocally. Spliff time. I'm gonna have the spliff, have another cup of coffee, then check my neighbor. It's free ground. That's few things that joyous that you don't have to dig out and do anything else that's odd. Da, 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 da. I have my broken rolling mat. Where's my other mat? Oh, there's my lighters here. Would you pause and let me go for my maths? Would you pause? Oh, my love. Or for an hour. That's cool. Would you pause and let me go for my rolling mat? Would you? Would you? Would you? I have another candle that's here. Oh. Okay. I have this. I have a couple of New Year's spliffs. That's my. Oh, I hate. I hate to spill wax on this tray. It always gets wax in it. It's a silver. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna say I smoke weed like a Hindu, but maybe we just technically Hindu anyway. Innit? Oh, for fuck's sake! If I do get up, it's for a coffee. So, how do I do this? Just for a bit. Scoop up. Okay. This is means I have to get up twice. So I'm going to get up, turn on the kettle, come back. Hope you wait for me. Hope you wait for me. Because I do want to make a coffee. I do want to roll a spliff. I do want to stay online. I'm going to roll this first. Actually, thanks for joining me. Thank you very much for joining. I'm happy to be here. I should log off now and save, upload, and save this. I hope you have a blessed evening. Thank you for joining my impromptu reading of my podcast, Imagined with Added Cheese, Ink and Obeah podcast. All right, let's give thanks, one love. Give thanks, one love, and share. Give thanks, one love. Give thanks, share to everybody. That's all. Thanks. Bye. I'm gonna end the slide. Oh, okay.